Hello everyone, Loremaster Sotek here. We have a new article. So I'm not going to waste too much time because I'm tired and I'm trying to get a lot of other stuff done. So we're going to go ahead and just drop straight into this. So we have the Forge of the Chaos Dwarfs introducing Zhatan the Black. So I assume that this is the final, Cruel is still last. So I assume this is probably going to be the last article for the Chaos Dwarfs. We had Astrogoth's article, which was kind of like the main one. And it also featured quite prominently, I believe, on the Bull Centaurs. Yeah. And then it also had Gorda's Backstabber. And then last week we had Drazoth, who had a lot of focus on like the Kadai. And this week we have Zhatan the Black, who will hopefully have the big guns. So it says, we're back with the last legendary lord from the upcoming Forge of the Chaos Dwarfs DLC, and we've left the Cruelest till last. Say hello to Zhatan the Black. Also, if you want to pre-order, I will have a link down below to my Fanatical link thing if you are interested in picking this up at a better discount than they're offering on Steam. I also am planning to do some giveaways of this DLC. I'll have more specifics in the very near future. So do keep kind of an ear to the ground on that. I know, especially in a lot of places in the world, this DLC is significantly more expensive. You know, for those of us, especially like in the West, like the US and England, and I think most of Europe, the price change is, it's there, but it's not super significant. Whereas in other parts of the world, it is like insane. So anyway, let's dive in. Zhatan the Black, who looks absolutely marvelous. I love his big tornado beard. He has a super bitchin' axe. He just looks great. He just looks great. I love him. All right, it says, Zhatan the Black, the commander of the Tower of Zar, is a servant to Gorth the Cruel, providing bountiful labor and sacrifice. But don't let that distract you from his own propensity for unending violence and suffering. Zhatan's high weaponry demand, there we go, means the workshops can barely keep up with his bloody expeditions. There is method in his madness, however, for the fiercest fires forge the hardest steel. And we can see his design document here, which looks absolutely marvelous. He really is kind of like classic 4th edition Chaos Dwarf, as far as like the really pop colors, the flame motif that makes him look like a ridiculous motorcycle, and just the biggest hat. Like, my God, that hat is literally another, I think that's like 30 or 40% of his overall height is his hat. As a melee first lord, Zhatan could smash bones to bits on foot, soar through the skies mounted atop a Lamassu, scorch the lands from a great Taurus, or pin prospective new laborers with his sadistic snare net. Oh, okay, so super awesome confirmation that Zhatan has flying mounts, so he can take a Lamassu or a Great Taurus. So he cannot ride a Bale Taurus. He can only take Lamassu or Great Taurus, but I think that's really nice. Save the Bale Taurus for the Sorcerer Prophets. Very cool. Alternatively, he can utilize an intensifying aura of boundless cruelty to strike fear into the hearts of those who oppose him. After all, the only thing louder than the screams of his broken foes is Zhatan's gloating laughter. Armed with the Obsidian Axe, the armor of Gazrak, and the Chaos Rune Shield to enhance his combat abilities yet further, Zhatan is one cruel customer. Good lord, he has a shitload of abilities and items. He has 3 legendary items. That is a ton on a melee character. So I'm guessing... I'm curious, is his shield his armor slot, or is his armor slot? I'm assuming it's his armor. I imagine his shield is either... I imagine it's probably either an enchanted... It's probably the enchanted item, and then he'll have his talisman slot empty, I would guess. So he has a net ability. I'm very curious what the specifics are on his net, as far as like what the targeting restrictions are. Since it's meant for laborers, I'm assuming it's going to be he can target a unit and net it. I would be surprised if he could also target characters, but even just having a unit net on a character who can fly in the Chaos Dwarf army sounds insanely strong. Nets are not something that's usually associated with the Chaos Dwarfs, but considering how shooting intensive they are as a faction, being able to fly up to an enemy unit and be like, stay in place, and then just unload on them sounds like instant death. All right, and here we go. It's time for choo-choo time. The Chaos Dwarfs' commitment to unparalleled engineering is well established, and one of their most unique units on the battlefield is, of course, their trains. The Dwarfs use trains to conquer territory in a way never before seen until Warhammer 3, chugging around the battlefield on their menacing locomotives. As for the locomotives themselves, there's the Iron Demon, a smoke-belching powerhouse that blasts shrapnel at enemy cannons when loaded with a steam cannonade. Oh, cool, so we have cannonades now. Cannonades are like something that I wish was more... it's essentially like a grape shot type weapon. I wish we had more like... Sometimes I wish cannons had an alternate firing mode for grape shot that just like significantly lowered their range, but obviously blasted like, you know, a bunch of people in front, just like they could in tabletop, because I always loved that cannons in tabletop had like an alternate firing mode. Anyway, then we have the Skull Cracker configuration that crushes fortifications with ease thanks to the hissing, grinding, arcane mechanical conglomeration of iron hammers, hacking blades, and brutal picks, which it does look absolutely devastating. This thing does look like it would chew through walls and units with extreme ease. Like you have the giant lawnmower blade on the front. You've got these like piston driven stabby spear things. Then you got the giant picks that come slamming down. So it's got 3 different methods of chopping you up from the front. And that's before it runs you over with the wheels. So yeah, pretty terrifying looking. While the Dreadquake mortar can be used as an independent artillery piece, it can also be towed into battle by both the Iron Demon and Skullcracker locomotives. Being among the largest and most effective siege weaponry deployed by the Chaos Dwarfs, this mighty bombard will rend the earth and smash fortifications to dust. Powered by immense steam pressure, the Dreadquake mortar is a slow-firing juggernaut that must be loaded with unique and hugely powerful shells to prevent self-destruction. I do love that the Dreadquake mortars can be hauled around by trains. I do hope that eventually we can haul all the war machines around with trains. Oh, there she is. There she is. Dude, the artwork is beautiful. It's really cool seeing, like, you can see, like, the Forge World models and the artists, like, picking it apart to figure out, like, all the components they want to add. And also looks like some reference, like, real-world reference materials. But the Dreadquake mortar, the lava cannon, they look absolutely amazing. I really hope we're eventually able to get the lava cannon and Deathstreaker rockets on trains as well, because in tabletop you could, I don't remember how many attachments a train could have. I want to say it was 2, it might have been 3, but you could have multiple war machines attached to a train. So you could have like an Iron Demon pulling a lava cannon, or an Iron Demon pulling a Deathstreaker rocket launcher, or an Iron Demon pulling a Dreadquake mortar, or you could have like 2 war machines, like a lava cannon and a Dreadquake mortar, etc. So that would be really cool to see sometime in the future, but I don't think that's super necessary at this time, especially because, like, the thing that immediately jumps into my mind is that I would assume the Dreadquake mortar, being a mortar because it fires up, can like very easily shoot lots of different directions while your train just does its own thing. Whereas I feel like the lava cannon and the Deathstreaker rocket would not be good at that because you wouldn't be able to aim them forward, because if you aimed them forward, they would literally shoot the train pulling them. So in order for them to like look right, I assume they would have to face backwards, which then would lead, I think, to this weird circumstance where you're like, you want to charge your Iron Demon or Skullcracker into combat so it runs people over, but you'd have to face it completely opposite of enemy units in order for the Deathstreaker rocket or the lava cannon to fire, presumably. So like it would not work that great. Whereas I feel like with the mortar, it's a lot easier because it can shoot over, you know, the car in front. So you could just charge forward and let it shoot wherever. I bet the Dreadquake mortar is going to have so many people are going to friendly fire themselves to death with that. Anywho, but that's not all. The Chaos Dwarfs come with 2 independent artillery units, which the Dreadquake mortar can also be taken independently. But you can also attach it to a train, whereas these cannot attach to a train. A divine combination of artillery and furnace, it was originally conceived to take down the ravening trolls and other adjacent horrors that multiply in the Darklands, but has since found a new purpose on the battlefield. Take cover, or better yet, run away really fast. So I'm assuming because the magma cannon was quote unquote made to take down trolls and other horrors, presumably it'll specialize in like blasting big things. I'm curious if it'll have an anti-large bonus, but hopefully it'll be pretty solid at shooting single entities, because like the mortar won't be super great for that. And the rocket the Deathshrieker rocket traditionally is more for, units. A diabolical contraption and one of the most destructive weapons ever created, with its munitions housing an unruly fire spirit harvested from the cinders of Hashit's sacrificial ashes. Launching shells high into the sky, the rockets from this beast will burst in midair, showering those below with fire and destruction. And let us not forget the alternative shells, demolition rockets, that explode upon contact with foes. This hulking piece of artillery is named for its horrific shrieks that emerge from within its grisly innards, although they're nothing in comparison to the screams of those that face it, of course. Okay, so I'm assuming this is like a bolt thrower where you have the version that bursts in midair, the Deathshrieker rockets, which burst in midair and are presumably good for hitting like lots of space. So they're like good for like hitting infantry or cavalry. And then the demolition rockets, since they explode on contact, I'm assuming that means it's one big rocket. So presumably that is an anti-large variant that's good for shooting monsters. Presumably, but we'll see. Convoys. Show me the convoys! The Chaos Dwarfs have access to a somewhat familiar convoy system, letting them send out armaments in return for riches. Along the way, they can, and most likely will, get dragged into all manners of scrapes and battles as those nearby attempt to pillage their wares. But fear not! As the Chaos Dwarfs' main resource, labor, resources, or raw materials or treasury are also up for grabs on these expeditions, helping expand the already expansive economy that the Dawizar have at their disposal. Interesting. Okay, so that's really... Okay. So it sounds like the main thing you're able to do is sell your armaments in return for gold. But it sounds like you can earn labor, raw materials, or treasury along your expedition. I imagine through like events or something like that. Chaos Dwarf Warriors. Glorious hats. Glorious hats. Clad in iron armor, the Chaos Dwarf Warriors are the foot soldiers of the Darklands' very own industrial empire. In addition to their skills as either a craftsman or artificer, these warriors are disciplined, resourceful, and furious. As a mid-tier unit from the Chaos Dwarven roster, these grumpy fellows are likely to swarm the battlefield en masse, bringing a selection of weapons in tow. Whether they're holding the line with axes and shields, crushing armored foes with great weapons, or gunning down the opposition with their blunderbusses, the Chaos Dwarf Warriors spread dead among whoever's unfortunate to encounter them. Which looks... Oh God, they look... I love the axe designs. I love their great weapons. And their one-handed axes. Like, they have such a unique style of weaponry and armor. I love like the kind of like scale plating. The beards look great. Everything looks great. The hats are great. Everything's great. Just delightful. Absolutely delightful. And that's a wrap up on our trilogy of introductions. Okay, so this is the final article. That's a wrap on our trilogy of introductions to the Forge of the Chaos Dwarfs campaign pack. But the train isn't running out of track anytime soon, as we've got another showcase on the way where you'll get to see Zhatan the Black in action. And we'll be back next week with yet more announcements. We'll, of course, have a full suite of patch notes dropping along Update 3.0 and Forge of the Chaos Dwarfs, as well as another maddening surprise or two to go with it. Keep a close eye on all of our official channels for further details, and we'll see you all on the battlefield. So the maddening surprise or two, I am pretty damn certain that is the Mirrors of Madness. So for those who haven't been keeping up with like news, Intel, so in Warhammer 2, I believe it was Intel as well. Intel did like a special promotion with Warhammer 2, which was the Skaven Laboratory. And the Skaven Laboratory was like basically a bonus mode that came with, it was a free update. And it basically was a mode that allowed you to like crazily customize your game experience within that mode. So you could mess with like how big something was. You could mess with like how large units were. I think you could mess with like how much blood there was. So you were able to make like a lot of really bizarre and hilarious circumstances, and it was basically there to allow, like, if you really wanted to play a map and just like go crazy with seeing how much insanity your PC would put up with before it burst into flames, that was the mode for that. It was really designed to take the gameplay of Total War to the absolute limit. I highly suspect that the Mirrors of Madness are basically the exact same thing. However, it does seem that the Mirrors of Madness is going to come with more than just a kind of like the cool, oh, look at all these like little sliders you can mess with mode. Because we have seen a host of new Steam achievements on the game, which anybody can look at. If you literally go boot up your Total War Warhammer 3 right now and you go to the Steam achievements and scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that there's a bunch of weird new achievements. So I suspect that this is probably the big surprise, is that there's going to be some kind of new game mode. It does say something about like earn enough points. So I imagine it's some kind of like arcadey thing, that you earn points by like defeating enemies or whatever. You know, kind of like how if you play a Total War Warhammer 3 free-for-all, you earn points by like killing people and it determines who wins. I assume it's going to be something like similar to that, but you're probably playing by yourself and you like kill lots of bad guys and then you earn points and you get an achievement. So hopefully, you know, I don't think it's going to be anything like, oh, this is like so crazy, but I do think it'll probably be just kind of like a fun, different way to play the game. So I am looking forward to it. So I wouldn't get too like, oh, about the maddening surprise or two, because maddening surprise, like Mirrors of Madness, maddening, you know, I feel that's pretty on the nose. So that being said, I am looking forward to the Mirrors of Madness because I will never say no to a new way to play the game. You know, sometimes I'm in the mood for something different. You know, there are times where I'm in the mood for like the Realm of Chaos Demon Prince battles from the Realm of Chaos campaign. There are times I'm in the mood for just fighting in the Realm of Chaos, which, you know, you can't do normally in Immortal Empires. So I enjoy little bonus things like that. That being said, I think that pretty much wraps up this video for today. We have, you know, Chaos Dwarfs are hurtling towards us at alarming speed. We have about 2 weeks to go. So for today's question for the comment section, let me know what feature of the Chaos Dwarfs are you the most excited about? Are you the most excited about like the more complex economy? Are you the most excited about the Hellforge? Are you the most excited with the which has like the unit customization and like allowing you to increase your unit caps? Are you the most excited for like the being able to build different kinds of building system where you can have like a tower, a factory, or an outpost? So you have to like design your provinces around these 3 different settlement types. Are you the most excited for like their tech tree, which has 3 completely different branches, or 3 completely different sections, I guess I should say more accurately. So like they have a big old tech tree. Are you the most excited for just like the battles, like playing with all these crazy units? Are you the most excited for the new convoys? Are you the most excited for, I don't know, I think that's everything. Or I guess the complex economy. I think I might have already said that. Anyway, I gotta get going. So thank you all so much for watching. I will see you again soon. Have a good night or morning or afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. And that's it.